Sounds good. So what else we got in store for next year? Anything good coming up?
Next year is going to be fantastic. We talked with of course, Pete Demos, the president of the Chicago Wise Guys. They're coming up on their, it's got to be between their 23rd and 25th season straight running at Great Lakes Dragway and other tracks, of course. But the Chicago Wise Guys are going to be back in full force. Chris Schenek won this year, and he did a fantastic job. He's got that number one on the car, and there's a lot of guys gunning for it. The nitrous car, of course, got number one right now, but you got guys like Orsolini. The big blower cars are gunning for him. I think Tom Dwyer is going to be back with his Chevelle, and that car is just awesome. They've had some struggles with the new style screw, but I think he's got that sorted out, and he'll be back, and of course, gunning. So the Chicago Wise Guys are going to be a great group to watch in 2018, as well as other groups like the Pro E85 group. They're becoming a fan favorite, running on corn-fed horsepower, alcohol, the E85 that you can buy right at the gas station. Huge wheelies, big burnouts, all kinds of great personalities. Of course, you got Dwayne, the president. Frankenstein car is becoming a fan favorite. That thing's just awesome. It's good to see Swanky's back with his Camaro after suffering a fire at his house. And the Kozlowski. No, I don't know their names. I'm going to mess it all up. See, you're going to get me in trouble. And these guys are big boys, too. They're going to be both back, both the brothers, of course. And the Pro 85 group is growing. More and more drivers. Johnny B is back with them. And so you got them, of course. The Midwest Gassers, always a group that's growing. And, of course, the Midwest Nostalgia Pro Stock group, a big fan favorite there. Dan Manisis and all the guys involved with that group putting together a show that's becoming a fan favorite. Look forward to seeing them run this year. And who knows, the Red Baron may sneak in there and continue my racing battles with Tyler Schenek, the driver of the STP Pontiac that's running with the Midwest Nostalgia Pro Stock Group. Dan Manisis has given the big thumbs up, saying, come on, Red Baron, race with us. And who knows, you may see that a couple of times this year. I got a score to settle with that kid. He beat me by 0.004 of a second on our side-by-side race on Labor Day. And so that, of course, has motivated the Red Baron to find that 0.004 and put the kid on the trailer. I got to do it. I mean, age and treachery has to prevail over the youth and enthusiasm of the young driver. He's not even out of high school yet.
And, of course, he's the son of the Wise Guys 2017 champion, Chris Schenek.
Oh, absolutely. And Schenek is going to have his hands full in 2018. Not only does he drive and maintain the fastest Chicago Wise Guy #1 car for 2017, he's going to have that number on there all of 2018, but he also maintains, tunes up Dan Manis's Dodge Colt. Right now, his Colt is in Schenek's shop, and they're in the process of doing some major engine renovations, which I don't know if I'm authorized to talk about or not. All I know is that Manis means business in 2018, and watch for that Colt to fly with Chris Schenek helping put the tune on it. Of course, and a variety of other cars that Schenek's going to be involved with. So he is going to be extremely busy. He's a home remodeler out of Wheaton, Illinois. Bases a lot of his customers in Glen Ellen, Illinois. Does some fantastic work, complete remodels out there. And he does very, very well, and rightfully so. The quality of their work is just unbelievable. And he's just a super, super nice guy. I told him I was redoing my roof because it was leaking. And he says, oh, well, let me know. I'll come over and I'll help you. And to hear that, instantly think, yeah, right, whatever, guy, you really don't mean it. But he gave me some advice, told me what to do, and I took the advice and I did it. And to this day, he still pokes me, and he'll say, why didn't you let me come over? I told you I'd have helped you. I told you I would have helped you. And yet, I took his advice, and I'm looking at my ceiling right now, and it ain't leaking anymore. Thank God.
Now, another guy that'd be gunning out for Shenik would be Gene Neesmith.
Oh, yeah. Those guys, certainly, there is a variety of heavy hitters in those ranks of the Chicago Wise guys that are going to be putting the pressure on. Brian Clark, of course, with Buy Right Auto Parts right there in Racine, major track sponsor. Clark's Mustang is definitely putting fear in the Chicago Wise guys. He's qualified for a couple of shows. And Brian Clark and the entire Clark family racing operation, top-notch, just first-class racers. And, I mean, if you're ever near their trailer when they're cooking, make sure you look over and you look a little hungry. Oh, you will not leave hungry. Fantastic host. The entire CarQuest team down there, of course. And Brian Clark going to be definitely someone to watch with the Chicago Wise guys in 2018.
Yeah, then I hear Brad Berkshire is coming back next year.
Really? I heard conflicting stories. I don't know if he's coming back or not. But Brad Berkshire, of course, that Mustang, that car really took a lot of guys by surprise when it first came out and when it was murdered out. I think you might remember it. The car didn't have a wrap on it. It was basically just a flat black, and it was wicked fast. They seemed to have have everybody's number, and they came back next year with it wrapped. It had a black and white stripe pattern on the car, and it just seems like it almost cursed it. I don't know what they changed, what else changed about the car, but it just seems like after they got that wrap on there, they couldn't get it as good as they had it before they wrapped it, which that sounds like a silly description of it, but that's the best I could do.
Yeah, then I think another contender is going to be Bud Dennis.
Bud Dennis. Dennis the Menace. I know he had a huge motor getting ready to go in that, I think it was a Studebaker that he has. And Bud Dennis has been plagued with mechanical issues, but he is one heck of a racer, and that's not his only car. I mean, you never know what Bud Dennis is going to be driving down the track, whether it's with the Nostalgia Superstocks, the Midwest Gassers. He's got something for every group. And, of course, Dennis the Menace running with the Chicago Wise guys. It'd be fantastic to see him right in the heat of the battle.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see Robert Redfield Jr. back because he was talking about selling the car. So.
Well, he didn't talk to me about selling the car. Redfield is just a fantastic guy, one of the nicest racers you'll ever run across, always willing to stop whatever he's doing and talk with you, whether you're a fan or a track announcer or just somebody looking for help. Redfield's car is just something very unique, shows the diversity of the different type of ways to make power with the Chicago Wise guys. And it's always great to see Senior there with him. He's right there on the starting line, turning on the computer for him, and right there in the pits, Robert Redfield Sr., fantastic guy. And I'll tell you what, I live out in the western suburbs of Chicago, so typically after a Nitro Streetcar Brawl race, the Red Baron locks up the tower and kind of sneaks out the back door. But always I get the invite from Redfield to hang out afterwards at their fire. And the stories I've heard of the different, chemicals being thrown in the bonfire and the alcohol consumed and the fun to be had is certainly something that I wouldn't want to have missed in my earlier days. But having to get out of there and often come back the next morning is kind of limits my time to be able to do that kind of stuff. But Redfield's parties in the pits are certainly legendary.
And I hear the plan is for Rick Saxo Jr. to come back.
Now that was a tragic loss for not only the Wise guys, of course, but the entire racing community when Rick Satchel passed away. I think we all knew it was coming, and we were quite surprised. I think there was quite a few people that were surprised at how long he fought that battle, and but it went quickly towards the end, and it was sad, of course, and I don't think anybody took it any harder than Tommy Dwyer. Those two were definitely partnered together all the time, and Tommy was always helping Rick and vice versa, and it was great to see Rick Satchel Jr., if he's going to bring back one of the cars. Obviously, we always hope that the Neighborhood Nuisance version 1.0 was going to go over 200. That was a big target for that car. I think it was achieved, if I recall. That car did go over 200 miles an hour, and it was a big, huge deal. Rick Satchel, of course, he had racing in his heart. And he's right. He's on the track. He's part of Great Lakes Dragway now. And just after an event recently, back in the fall, I walked out to about the 1,000-foot line, where I know he's out there, and I had a little conversation with Rick about more about life than about drag racing, because I think he was more about other things than the drag racing. We saw him there. He was a great family man and a fantastic guy overall. And certainly, if anybody got the chance to talk with Rick and talk about life, his philosophy on things, they definitely saw a side of him that was certainly surprising. And he was quite the guy. He certainly is missed, not only in the Chicago Wise Guy pit area, of course, but at the drag strip, and of course at home and in the community.
Yeah, and his ashes did go out on the track Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
That was a beautiful memorial.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Wise Guys did it up right. And it was certainly, I don't think there was a dry eye in the place. And rightfully so. He was a well-respected, good friend of many, many, many racers.
Now another great family that the Wise Guys has is the Kusha family.
Ah, yes. The Dodge, of course, the Demon, the Plymouth Demon. Devil's Dust is the latest version, I believe. The silver car.
Yep.
The Kusha family. Definitely a friendly bunch. Always willing to say hi, whether it's right before they make a pass. I have kind of a great position to be in. I walk down the tower steps, and you're entering in where I like to call it, that's the racers are getting in the zone. A lot of racers right in that area, right at the base of the tower. They are locked, loaded. The seatbelts are tightened all the way. They're in their zone. And you can just tell they're staring straight forward. You don't go over and talk to them. Fuchsia, oh boy, he could be just about ready to make a pass. He'll call you and wave you over and say, hey, how's it going, man? I can't wait to make this run. This is going to be great. Oh, we did this and we did that in the car, and this is going to be fantastic. Check this out, man. You're not going to want to miss this. And you can really appreciate that. And not only, and you can see that in how they treat their fans coming down the return road. They're always waving, throwing stuff to the crowd. The Kuchia guys are just fantastic. The entire family's really, really something fun to watch, and glad to have them be a part of the Wise Guys in any race. I mean, they're gonna gain fans anywhere they go.
Yeah, it was good to see Jerry the Greek Constados come back.
Oh yeah, of course, Jerry, and just fantastic to see. Tina is just how do I describe her? She is just overflowing with enthusiasm everywhere. She comes flying up the stairs in the tower, gives you a big hug, says, oh, they're so happy to be here, and yet, you know she's exhausted because you saw pictures on social media about how, they were up till 4 o'clock in the morning putting the car back together. But just a huge fan and a huge racing enthusiast and a big supporter, of course, to the Greek, and all about getting that car on the track. And yeah, watch for good things from that car this year.
Yeah, I think Hector Claire-Quente is going to get that Pontiac dialed in next year.
Yeah, Hector is he's a fantastic guy, of course, a new dad, and he is
Well,
always.
You mean new grandpa?
Yes, the new grandpa. Always good to see him, whether it be they had the Corvette at one point on the track, they got the Pontiac. Certainly a lot of fun to watch that entire family race.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the nitromethane cars, like Doc Holliday.
Oh, wow. That's just amazing, the amount of history that goes with those cars, the fans that are with those. You hear the term nostalgia a lot. It gets thrown around a lot, and I think abused quite often. But those guys running those, the AA altered, funny cars, nitro powered, just amazing. Of course, the Doc Holliday, his races, his match races with the Kangaroo are just certainly something that you can't miss. And I'm really embarrassed. What is the name of the car he races?
Down Under Thunder.
Down Under Thunder, and of course a local driver. What is his name that drives the Thunder?
Baz Young.
Baz Young, and he'll kill me if he finds out I didn't remember his name. Baz is a local guy. I think if you yell loud enough at Great Lakes Dragway, he'll probably come running. Baz and the Down Under Thunder, of course, racing side by side with Doc Holliday. Just something certainly not to be missed. Doc Holliday, that car just flies. They have a fearless driver who starts to head to the wall. He's just staying in it. We've seen that car come back down the return roads with the header pipes all just smashed shut from hitting the wall down in the shutdown area. But they bring it back, they straighten out the header pipes, and they're ready for the next round, having a blast. And just a great group of guys, of course. And Baz, talk about an entertainer and a guy that understands that his fans are paying money to see him run. I'll never forget a conversation I had with him, whether it was Memorial Day or Labor Day, but it was early in the weekend, and he had just exploded his engine. And there was just no way he was going to get that thing running for the remainder of the event. And he called me over and he said, "Ray Barron, come over here." He says, "I got to tell you, you need to make sure you let my fans know that I'm so sorry that I'm not going to be able to race for the rest of the weekend, but make sure they know I'm coming back and we're going to get back here as soon as we can." And this is while he's up to his elbows in grease, oil, dirt, grime, blood. This is a man who is dedicated to his fans. And I made sure to let everybody know that to go see Baz and get him to sign his driver card, and that he really felt bad that he was going to be able to race the rest of the event. I think that personality trait is so common amongst all of the racers that are at Great Lakes Dragway, whether it's during the big events or even some of the smaller events. They know that the folks are in the stands and they want to see a show, and they really want to do well, not only for their own egos, for their own personal best, but to put on that show for the fans. And they see them when they're coming down the return road. They can tell, they can see when the fans appreciate it, and it just inspires them to do more and even do better next time.
Now, in 2016, Baz had a problem, and Doc Holliday went against the Bill Anderson's Roadshow, right? The alcohol funny car?
He may have. I think we did have an alcohol versus a nitromethane matchup at one point. And I think the results were fairly close. If I remember right, I think the alcohol car may have even won that matchup. At least one match.
So what about the dragsters?
The dragsters, of course. Charlie, rest in peace, of course. Had we got the orange crate is typically going. See, this is where I need Dietrich. I told you about him right at the start.
Yeah.
The guy's encyclopedia. Orange crate will typically race against Charlie's team. Who is? Come on, help me out here.
Charlie. Well, no, Orange Crate didn't run this year, though.
I can't say if he did or not. Once again, my memory's not that great.
I know this year we had the red car, which is Cullinan drives it.
Oh, yeah, that thing was just crazy. He started that car up. The entire tower was shaking. Really, really something to hear. So now Dietrich's going to kill me.
And Cullinan's currently driving for the Drastic Plastic.
Yes, Drastic Plastic. That's who I'm describing. When they started that car up, the tower just shake. Huge horsepower, and the fans really loved it. Watching that car make a pass. Drastic Plastic was at the track this year. I guess.
Yeah, they went against Nitro Madness.
Ah, yes. Awesome to see.
Then I know I can't remember all the drivers' names for all the nostalgia Nitro Methane tracks. We got Jason Greenwood.
Yes, Jason Greenwood, of course.
Jim Young.
And I've had the pleasure of kind of hanging around at the end of the night at the pay window with some of those guys, and just hearing the stories of the experiences at the track, whether they be on the racing surface of the track or trying to get paid from the man himself, Broadway Bob. Just some of the horror stories that these guys all have, and they chuckle about it to this day. Coming up to the pay window at the end of an event, and how to handle that, and how to get paid, and how big of a fight it was with Broadway Bob. He was a stickler. If you didn't hit a number, or you didn't hit as many of the rounds as you said you were gonna, well, he made sure your wallet felt it.
Then Jim Young has the Young Guns dragster.
Ah, yes, yep.
And then how about some of the bracket cars you guys got running there all the time?
The bracket program is something that I got the pleasure of becoming introduced to a lot of the drivers this year, and just watching their performance, just amazing. The natural thing is, of course, you got the grudge racers, and you got the no time racers, and excuse me, the clocks off group. You think there's an ongoing battle between the bracket racers. Oh, bracket racing is boring. Oh, blah blah blah. But I'll tell you what. After announcing for the bracket racers this year, I gained so much respect for the skills, both mechanically and the drivers needed to repeat their performances. Unbelievable drivers like Crystal Gale running that Mercury Capri. Unbelievable reaction times, hitting triple O's, and then dialing on the number, running packages of like one 1,000th of a second, 2-3,000ths of a second, total packages. Just unbelievable performance, and that's quarter mile. Really, really something to see. Of course, the Sirrar team doing well. Great Lakes Dragway sent a lot of the bracket racers to Michigan, of course, to the division finals, and did extremely well. And I could see why. I mean, heavy hitters certainly were on their way there. I know that they did a 50-50 raffle all year long, and a lot of people won some cash, and the other half of that money was spent to help the racers to get to the division finals. Pay for some of the gas in their vehicles and whatnot. And it was certainly money well spent. They represented Great Lakes Dragway extremely well in Martin, Michigan. And that, once again, that's another a tribute to Don DeBear, a racer managing, directing the race operations, if you will. The racers love him, and he's fair. He's going to take care of everybody, and I think there's a great amount of comfort knowing that when you bring your car up to the line, Don DeBear is going to put on a fair show for you. You're going to get a fair shake and a fair chance to do well. The bracket racing program is going strong at Great Lakes Dragway. It continues to build. I think more and more people are getting involved with it. There's certainly something for everyone to fit in, and they race during on Saturdays, and they also appear at some of the other events. I know that the Cabra Assassina, Stephen Heidloff, big popular racer with the bracket racing program. He's been known to stay on a Sunday and race with the imports. And it's certainly something to see. You know, he goes up there with his professional bracket racer pedigree, and these imports are coming at him. And he's not guaranteed to win. He does well, but he certainly has to put on his A game to fend off the imports that are coming at him in the bracket program.
Now, for next year, are we going to see anything new happen at Great Lakes Dragway?
Oh, boy. You know, I haven't had to ask Randy that question yet, but I would say that some of the things that you're going to see are a continuation of more and more emphasis on the groups. You know, like we talked about, the Pro E85 group, the Midwest Gassers, the Midwest Door Slammers, of course, the Chicago Wise Guys, as these, even the Chicagoland Superstocks. As more and more groups form and become have something to offer, I think that you're going to be treated to new faces, new styles of different cars, whether it be a capped class like the Pro E85 group runs on an 890 index, or it be a shootout style like the Chicago Wise Guys, or just a flat-out exhibition class like some of the 9-second club was. I think you're going to see a continuation of a variety of different races within the races. I think, of course, the King of the Streets, otherwise known as COT, they're going to continue with their 2-race program in the spring and in the fall, and that is extremely popular amongst the racers and the fans. Trent and Steve do a fantastic job of putting that together, and it pays huge money to the racers. The fans are treated with a fantastic show. So the COTS event, look for that to continue to grow. I would say that the Nitro Streetcar Brawl is going to continue to grow with the Chicago Wise Guys, the Pro 85 group, the Midwest Gassers, Midwest Door Slammers, the Midwest Nostalgia Pro Stock group. All those groups are continuing to build themselves by bringing more and more racers in, and continue to build their show by adding to their events.
Sounds good, Mike. Let me ask you a few fun questions before we close out this interview. What's your favorite food?
Oh man, deep dish pizza from Lou's.
Favorite beverage?
Favorite beverage? Coke, no ice.
Coke, no ice?
Coke, no ice.
Favorite music?
Favorite music? Boy, I have a variety of it. Heavy metal, of course, has always been something I've listened to, but I also listen to Christian rock.
Here to wipe
I'll have any number of stuff on the radio.
Destruction.
She's yelling out a bunch of metal bands.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been to my share of Disturbed concert. Loved watching Disturbed. Of course, AC/DC, we just lost Malcolm Young, of course. Kiss, Motley Crue. Been to all those concerts. Always enjoyed that. Had a blast.
Yeah. So, what's been your fondest memory at Great Lakes Dragway?
Fondest memory at Great Lakes Dragway? Wow. I got a lot of them. I remember my parents came to a race once, and my mom and dad, they're still around, and love them. They live in Carroll Stream, and they made it to a race once, and I remember my mom, of course, being the mom she is, loaded up the trunk with coolers with food and soda and sandwiches, and she got into the pits and opened up the back door. I think it was a Ford Taurus. And she popped open the trunk and opened up the cooler, and there was all the sandwiches. And my good friend Dave Daniels was with me at that particular race. And I remember sitting with him, just enjoying those sandwiches and thinking, this is what it really is all about. It's about family at the track. And it really put a new dimension on it, and I miss that. I got to have my parents at the track more often, and it's hard, obviously, they're healthy, they're very young, and but getting them to be able to come to the track takes takes a lot. But I look forward to seeing if I can get them to come back to the track, and even now my current family, those are great memories as well. Anytime that my wife and my kids are there. That means a lot to me because I'm away from home. When I'm announcing an event, I'm away from them. And if I'm racing, I'm certainly away from them. But when they're there, it's just a huge thing. And it's funny, I just had this conversation with Chris Shenik the other day, and talk about a family racing operation. They are all involved. They're working on the cars, they're staging the cars. That family is together all weekend when they're racing, and it's just so huge. I can't imagine Chris Shenik being as successful without the support of his family being there with him at the track. It's just really admirable, something awesome.
Now, Mike, if you were able to do time traveling and go back in time, would you do anything differently?
Of course. I would buy Google stock. Because a lot of things financially I would go back and want to change so that I could afford to race more.
What about
there's a variety of different things that I would change, decisions I made.
Excuse me, Jones. Oh, excuse me. What about the Dow or CDs or bonds, stocks? Which one would you buy?
Well, like I said, Google would have been a huge one. Google would have been a great stock. Microsoft would have been a great stock.
Yeah.
Back all those way a long time ago, to be able to put that kind of money in then, and we just did some calculations the other day because a good friend of mine recommended Google stock back when it was $10 a share, and we did some math, and if I would have sunk the money I had, every dime I had into it back when he told me to do it, I wouldn't have to have worked today, that's for sure.
Yeah. So if you could build a racetrack, if someone said, Mike, here's $150 million to build a drag racetrack, where would you build a drag racetrack, and what kind of features would you put in the track?
Oh, wow. That kind of money and that kind of a track. The first thing I would do would be to talk with all the owners of the tracks. Roger, of course, from Wisconsin International Raceway is just a wealth of knowledge, and the guy that owned that track, and there's even some history with Great Lakes Dragway with the Van Dwalik family. Randy Henning would be definitely a guy that I would talk to and say, Randy, if you had a blank slate to do it all over again, what would you do? Dominic Blasco, of course, he's been involved in racetracks forever. Talking to all those folks, but ultimately, to do something here in the Midwest would be awesome, but we struggle with weather. And, I talked earlier about the days of the Chicago Amphitheater running indoors. What a great possibility to enclose a drag strip. The entire, mile and a half straight away, to have some sort of a enclosure on it where the fans could watch in a safe environment, get rid of the exhaust, and actually run the cars in the relative indoors all year long would be awesome. I think that'd be great. I think going in the style where Wisconsin International Raceway has, where there's a roundy-round track, so they got something for those folks. They got some great events up there. They got the Tournament of Destruction where they're smashing school buses up and racing anything with wheels. There's something for everyone. So a motorsports kind of emporium, if you will, would be something I would like to do. There's so many great different styles of racing. It's no secret that the drifting style is taking hold at Great Lakes Dragway. They've been doing some exhibition on the pad, Great Lakes, and certainly, a lot of people go up there and do that, and it's fun. So it just shows providing something for everyone, including the fans. But yeah, give me a blank check like that, and I'm going out and I'm talking to the people that are doing it now and finding out what they would do differently and taking that advice, and then, heck yeah, build one heck of a drag strip.
Hold on, I like that idea of indoor racetrack. But see, we'd have to build a ventilation system to let out all the exhaust and all that shit. We'd have to build a fireproof safe walls. We'd have to build fireproof grounds. We'd have to build everything fireproof.
Well, it sounds like you certainly have an engineering type mind, and I would definitely continue to develop that, and maybe we can make that happen.
I already have an idea how to do it.
Fantastic. All we need is the money then.
Yep. Good luck on that.
So now, Mike, you have any hobbies outside drag racing?
Oh, outside drag racing, we live in a house that's probably just about 100 years old, so, you know, if hobbies include fixing drywall, fixing squeaky floors, fixing, you know, appliances, painting, staining, you know, just maintaining my home, that's one. We live on about an acre and a half of property, so it's always needing some sort of maintenance. Besides working at Great Lakes Dragway, of course, I work for a chrome plater in Elk Grove Village, Illinois. We do industrial hard chrome plating. We don't do, like, the decorative stuff. But you know, chrome is used in manufacturing of anything from steel to roofing tiles, roofing shingles, food industry. There's plenty of you know, usage for the hard chrome. And then on top of that, I own a company called Outdoor Equipment Service, where we service small engines, whether it be lawnmowers, snowblowers, generators, chainsaws, all that stuff. I run that out of my home, so that's kind of a hobby slash career that we have here. Local customers, you know, we use we pick up and delivery, free pickup and delivery and estimates, and you know, we provide a service for a lot of local families, and we've built a pretty good customer base, and we have a steady flow of, you know, riding lawnmowers, snowblowers, always in the shop. So yeah, as far as hobbies, that's basically it. It almost sounds like my work is a hobby.
Now, with that old house, you ever have any ghosts in there?
I'm sorry?
With the old house, ever had any ghosts in the house?
Oh, well, I'm sitting here next to my ghost detector cat, and he has a tendency to stare up at the wall and run from things that we can't see, or stare and watch things, you know, move across the room that we can't quite see. So yeah, he may be our little ghost detector here, but I'm certainly a spiritual guy, and I believe in the spirit, and of course in God and the afterlife. But I'm not quite sure that there's many things, entities wandering around here that I got to be concerned about. And if they are, as long as they leave me alone, I'm totally fine with that.
I actually in my house, there was a woman who killed herself and her daughter, and this was like 40 years ago. And when we first moved in January 8th, 2016, a little girl said, "Get out," and then she pushed me down the stairs.
Well, what are you still doing there, then?
No, we're still here. Anyways, listen. So, last month, my sister has a dog. Her name's Chloe. She came over to our house, and I was sitting in the kitchen. I was videotaping Chloe, and then Chloe was just looking straight up at the ceiling, like something was telling her to come to them. And that person, you could hear the person whisper in the 6-second video I have. It whispers, "Chloe." And then a couple months ago, me and Dave did a bonfire in the backyard. I shit you not, my dog from last year is buried there in the backyard. My Shih Tzu, Abby. She died of cancer, 8 years old. Rest in peace, Abby. But anyways, we were doing bonfire. There was smoke all over the backyard, you know. So I was just decided to just be goofy, take some pictures. So, you know, as I'm taking pictures, when I go back inside, I look at the pictures, I see fucking the woman's face. Scary as hell,
Well,
man.
I think that we can see see and hear what we want to see and hear. Certainly, if you open your ears and open your eyes, you'll certainly see things and hear things. Whether they're real or not, that's up to the individual to decide.
Oh, I've been seeing them since I was 3 years old.
So now, Mike, if you weren't involved with drag racing, what do you think you'd be doing?
Oh boy, I don't know. I would probably spend more time at home with my family, which that sounds like a great thing, because it does take away from that. But I don't really know. I would probably be more into the house projects. I got tons of painting jobs and outdoors and indoors, things that I just kind of push off because I'm either announcing or I want to go racing. And I think the old joke, you can tell the drag racer on the block when the lawn hasn't been mowed in months, and some things need repair, but those are all put off to the off season, to do later. And that's where we're at right now. So I got a variety of different things that I'm involved in with the house, and with my children, I have a 10-year-old son who is he's involved in dance. He's following the footsteps of his older brother, who he's 19 now, and he's a student at UIC downtown at the Honors College.
Nice.
And then my oldest daughter is 20 years old, and she is going to be getting an associate's degree, and she's working practically full-time now, and sinking time into their hobbies and to keeping them in sports that they love, like dance, for example, has always been dance and volleyball has always been something that I, as a parent, have done with them, and I think any parent that has done that realizes the rewards that it pays off to support your kids in their hobbies and whatnot. Nobody's really expressed any interest in driving the old Red Baron. My daughter joked around about it a little bit, but other than that, I don't think I have another driver waiting in the wings to take the wheel after I hang up my helmet, but that's going to be a long time anyway. I'm not worried about that anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, so Mike, I want to thank you for your time for an interview.
Oh, thank you for your being patient. I've been sick for about a month now. Had it's developed into bronchitis, which I never really had before, but I appreciate your patience. I know that I had to blow you off a couple of times, and you were very gracious and held off. But yeah, it's been nice to talk with you, and of course, I hope that the fans know maybe a little bit more about me, but it's not about me. I think that's one of the main things that I enjoy about announcing. I can only hope that I can just add a little bit to the background knowledge, fill in some time gaps, and entertain folks a little bit with, of course, Mark Dietrich. We have a blast up in the tower. If the mics were on all the time, oh boy, we'd be in big trouble. But when the mics are on, our job is to just let the fans know what's going on, remind them that they got great food and future events coming up at the track, make everyone feel welcome, make them feel part of the family, make them feel like they're aware of what's happening both on the track and in the pit areas, and giving them a little bit of background on the racers. So it's not about us. It's just about transferring that information, and if we can accomplish that, then so be it. We're happy to do it.
Well, get well, Mike.
Hope you get well soon.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing everybody at Great Lakes Dragway, of course, January the 1st, the inaugural Pine Car Shootout. And watch, there's going to be some heavy hitters there. Dr. Ford is bringing up his grandson's car and is promising to bring some tears to some engineering eyes, and it should be very interesting. Of course, Jeff Oppenheim, one of the notorious up-and-coming drag racing crews from DuPage County, former Demolition Derby car driver and team. They're putting together quite the fleet of Pinewood Derby cars, and they're going to be coming up there as well. So watch for that. It's going to be a blast. It's free of charge. Randy and Marcel and Claire, of course, have put together the plans for New Year's Day. Going to be some great food. The bar is going to be open. and it is going to be exciting there. This January the 1st for the first Pine Car Shootout, and like I said earlier, weather permitting, they're going to have some bracket cars on